everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Paula here. We are already in June, which is wild if you ask me, because this year is going by so fast. I feel like also because I have so many changes this past 3 or 4 months, so everything's been very chaotic for me. But I am finally established in my new apartment, my new city, my new work, so I feel like I'm in a good place to figure out a June TBR. Now, I usually do my TBRs a little bit different, and I just talk about the books that I would like to get to in a month. They are more hopefuls than TBR because I am at my core a mood reader, and I'm very bad at sticking to a TBR, but I still want to have some specific books that I think will be good to read during the season or the month that I'm in. So let's talk about June. In June, I don't really have a theme, but there are some specific books that I would like to read. I think in between those, I would like to read some romance, literary fiction, some short classics, and I'm trying to go for a fun non-fiction. So that's a little bit of what I'm reading. I have my trusty computer here because another thing that you need to know in this video is that since I moved, I obviously do not have any of my books with me. I only brought like 2 and they're there. So because of that, I will be mostly reading on my Kindle because I do have copies of my physical books in my Kindle. So yeah, all of them are gonna be ebooks except one that I do have here, but I'm sorry, I cannot be bothered to grab it right now, but I'll still put it somewhere here. So let's get started. I did say I want to be reading some short classics, but I do try to read a very intimidating / long classic a month. So throughout the month of June, I already started it, but throughout the month of June, I'm going to be reading Don Quixote de la Mancha by Cervantes. I am like 25% through, and I knew I was not going to be able to finish it in 1 week or 2 weeks. So I'm kind of like pacing it, reading like 5 chapters a day or something like that, and I started last week during May. So we're gonna be slowly making my way through that book. If you don't know, Don Quixote is basically like the quintessential Spanish novel. It's about this, I'm gonna say man, this 50-year-old man, and he consumes so many chivalry books to a point where he loses his mind and starts thinking that he is one of those knights that goes out to save damsels in distress. So basically, we're in an era that there's no errant knights anymore, but he is out there going on and genuinely thinking and imagining that he is a knight, and he has a companion, and he's doing everything in the name of this lover that he has, which he in reality does not have. And it's a very funny book. Again, I'm 25% through and I'm enjoying it very much. So that's the first book. Now, the second book that I'm gonna read for sure this month, this one is actually required, is My Friends by Frederick Backman, because that's gonna be a book that I'm gonna be reading for my book club. So usually I try to read book club books during that month. It's like my one rule. Even if I don't feel like reading it that much, I am kind of like forced or required to read it. So My Friend by Frederick Backman, as far as I'm aware, follows a young girl trying to investigate the story behind this one painting, and it has like different timelines, I believe, one with the girl and then another one with the 3 children, the 3 kids that show up in that painting. So I don't know, I've heard good things. Also, Frederick Backman, last time I read a book of his, I cried so much. So I'm not sure I'm ready for it, but I am definitely excited for it. Then my one non-fiction book that I want to read is Strong Female Character by Fern Brady. I am so sorry, I have no idea who Fern Brady is, but I've heard that her memoir is quite funny, and I know that she talks a lot about autism, like her autism, and being diagnosed like 20 years after she should have been diagnosed, and how her life revolves about that. So I think it's gonna be a very interesting one, and I feel like short memoirs are a good way to read non-fiction during the summer, because I just feel like I don't want to read heavy non-fiction during summer. I just want to have like lighter reads. So that is Strong Female Character by Fern Brady. Then I don't know why this one for me feels like a summer book. Maybe it's because of the cover, but I want to read In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. I don't know much about this. I know it's a historical fiction slash romance. I know there's romance and it's between these two men during World War One, which it's June, it's Pride Month. I'm happy that I'm incorporating some queer reads into my June roster, my June TBR. Don't know much about it again, but I know that Jack Edwards really liked this book and he considers it to be a future classics. So very excited to read it too. So moving on, I also want to read Good Material by Dolly Alderton. I got this book like last year, I believe. And I have not read any of Dolly Alderton fiction books yet. I've only read Everything I Know About Love and Dear Dolly, which Everything I Know About Love I read when I turned 21, I think, and I really enjoyed that book. And then Dear Dolly, it was fun. I don't think it was very necessary, but I enjoyed reading some parts of it. So I'm excited to see how she writes fiction, and specifically because the main character in this book is a man. He is a comedian and he has recently broken off his relationship. I don't know if he's been dumped or not, but I know that his relationship has just ended. So it talks about, you know, breakups, and he's a comedian, so I'm hoping this will be kind of funny. I don't know, it definitely looks like a summer book. It looks very vibrant, so it looks very light too, so we'll see how it goes, but that's another one that I want to read. This one looks a little bit different. It's a short story collection. It's called Temporary People by Deepak Unikrishnan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And this one is actually a souvenir that my boyfriend got me from the United Arab Emirates, and it's going towards my Reading the World challenge. So basically this book consists of different short stories that follow overall like foreign nationals in the United Arab Emirates and how they constitute like a big part of the population and how they usually work like dangerous jobs in construction. So it's a little bit about that. I know that Amy recently read it and she likes some of the stories. I'm mostly reading it for my Reading Around the World challenge, and because it's short stories, I feel like it's a good thing to read during the summer. Now this book I have started twice and I haven't been able to read past the first like 20 pages, I think. This book is All the Lovers in the Night by Mieko Kawakami. I want to read this book. I really want to, but for some reason I can never like really get into it. Maybe it's because every time I try to read it, I'm in a very specific time in my life where everything is very chaotic and I just cannot put the effort into reading this book. So I'm hoping that since it's very short, it's generally like I think probably like 200 pages or so, I want to read it this summer. And I don't actually know much about this book. I just know that it follows a freelance editor, I think, in her like mid-30s. I don't know if there's like any romance in between. I know it talks a lot about disillusionment and art, so we'll see if I actually get to this one this June, mostly because I think I'm gonna like it. It's just for some reason I cannot get into it, and that's kind of sad for me. So into my short classic that I want to read this June, I have White Sargasso Sea by Jane Rees. And if you don't know, one of my favorite classics is Jane Eyre. But although it's one of my favorite classics, it has a lot of things that are very, let's say, weird. So basically, White Sargasso Sea, it's kind of like not necessarily a retelling of Jane Eyre, but it's more of a background story on Bertha, which is our main male character in Jane Eyre's first wife. Just like the whole thing, everything related to that first wife in Jane Eyre is fucking whack. So I'm very excited to read how that came to be and know more about Bertha, because she is, I believe, a character of color. Just how she was mistreated in the original work, I want to see a little bit more about her in this one, so I'm very excited. And again, it's very short. I think it's like less than 200 pages. Now, one other book that I've been trying to read for so long is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. This book follows, I think, an island where things start disappearing, like objects start disappearing, and people start forgetting about them, and there's like this police that's trying to make sure that things stay forgotten. I just heard really good things about both this book and this author, and the cover is one of my favorite covers ever. So I'm really hoping to get into this, because also I feel like a little bit of more like mystery will be fun during the summer. I'm trying to expand a lot of what I'm reading this summer, so that's the one. Another, this one's not necessarily a classic. I think it's a modern classic. I know it's in the Penguin's modern classic collection, so like the ones with the teal blue spines. And it's Near to the Wild Heart by Clarice Lispector. I've been really meaning to get into Clarice Lispector for a while. If I'm completely honest, I have absolutely no clue what this book is about, and I think I did it on purpose. I kind of want to go into this book completely blind. I want to know what Clarice Lispector is about. I want to know why she is so known and loved worldwide. So I'm very excited. Also, it's gonna be a book for the World Challenge because she's from Brazil. So I'm very excited about that. Also, it's giving me summer vibes, but maybe it's just the cover, because I feel like most of the Penguin Modern Classics covers feel very summery for me. I don't know why, maybe it's probably just the teal color. And then the last two are more romance based. So I am finally reading Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have read, I think, 4 of her books. I've read Book Lovers, Funny Story, Happy Place, and Great Big Beautiful Life, in that order. And I still not have read like the original two, so like Beach Read and People Living on Vacation, have not read them. So I got it as a gift last Christmas, so I'm gonna read it this summer. I know it's about 2 authors that switch genres for the summer. I know that this is like the book that most people love by Emily Henry. This is like top 1 for a lot of people, and top 1 male main character too, so very excited for that. It's gonna be a nice romance for the summer. And then the other one that it's kind of romantic, it's more literary, it's Lo que hay by Sara Torres. This is a Spanish book, and I am pretty sure it doesn't have an English translation. I would have to check that out. But basically, this book follows this woman. She is having an affair, and one day while she is with this other woman, her mom dies, and then her lover disappears. So she is having to grapple with the reality that 2 of the most important people in her life are just gone, and she has to live again with her girlfriend. It feels like it's gonna be a very messy situation with a lot of discussion about grief and loss. So very excited for that one. Also, I'm trying to support more Spanish authors, especially like newer Spanish authors, and specifically this publishing house is called Reservoir Books. There's something about the books that they publish that always catch my attention, so I definitely want to try reading more books from that publishing house, because I also have a couple others from the same editor and they look so good. So very excited. So yeah, that was the last book from my TBR. I think that's what, like 10-11 books. Probably will not get to all of them during this month, but I will definitely get to some of them. I am also thinking I might do some name wheel picks my reads so I can figure out what books to read, because I feel like I am not entirely sure what I'm in the mood for, at least for now. But yeah, if you've stayed until the end, thank you so much. I hope you like this video. If you have read, if you would recommend any of the books that I talked about, please do let me know. I always love hearing your opinions on them, even if they're bad. Even if you didn't like some of the books, I always appreciate seeing your reasons why. So yeah, please do that. Like, comment, subscribe, that would make my day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!